Hello, it's Lexi at Cozy Tea Cafe over on Bookstagram, and today I'm going to be summarizing Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, book 1 in the Six of Crows duology, or is it? Because another book is coming out June 30th, and I know it's probably been a while since we've all read these books, so just a reminder, these summaries will be full of spoilers, so if you have not read Six of Crows and you want to, don't continue watching. So we start off by following a Grisha healer named Anya, and here, wherever she is, all Grisha are indentured servants. Anya is put into a room with a little boy and forced to heal him after the guard cuts the boy. Then he gives Anya a pill, and she starts commanding the officers with some sort of mind control, which is not normal, and the other guards start to panic as she tells them to pick up a knife, and then it kind of ends there. We deal with a lot of different POVs in this book. So first we start with Inej, who is a quiet spy called the Wraith, and she's getting ready to meet with Giles, a rival gang member from the Black Tips. Herself, Kaz, Jesper, Big Bolliger, and other gang members arrive at the meeting place, and things quickly go south. This is clearly a setup because Giles says he has guards waiting on the roof to shoot, and Kaz tells him to do it, and Big Bolliger is shot. Kaz reveals that he got to the guard first because he knew Big Bolliger was working with the Black Tips under his nose. Kaz then reveals that he has someone stationed outside of Giles' girlfriend's house with orders to kill her if Kaz doesn't make it out alive. Giles agrees to stand down, and Kaz warns him to keep the Black Tips out of their business, then tells Bolliger that he has the night to get out of Ketterdam and uses his cane to break Giles' wrists. As they walk away, a figure attacks Kaz in an alley, and another man walks through a wall and injects Kaz with a syringe. Then he wakes up strapped to a chair. Kaz's captor appears and has on a pin with the crest of Van Eck, one of the merchant houses on the council. Van Eck explains that there is a new drug called Jerdaparem that's been tested on 3 Grisha so far, one of which is the man Kaz saw walk through a wall. Van Eck says that the Shu are using this drug to turn lead into gold in order to pay off their debts, and they must be stopped. The creator of the drug, Bol Yulbeyer, sought asylum from Kirch, but he was captured by the Fjerdans and is awaiting trial at their notorious ice court. Van Eck offers Kaz $5 million to break him out, but Kaz says the ice court is impossible to breach, so Van Eck offers $20 million and Kaz accepts. Van Eck says that a healer Grisha named Anya, the same one from Chapter 1, took the Jerdaparem and ordered a guard to cut off his own thumb, then ordered all the other guards to wait, and they've been waiting unresponsive ever since. Anya's body later washed up on the shore, and they think she drowned trying to get more of the drug because it's highly addictive. Kaz first enlists Inej to the team, and she agrees. Inej was sold to a pleasure house as a child and worked there until Kaz bought her freedom, and she's been his spy and friend ever since. Kaz then goes to a pleasure house to enlist the help of Nina, a heartrender Grisha who helps ease people's emotions for money. He tells Nina that if she joins him, they'll break Matthias out of prison and enlist his help too. Matthias is a Fjerdan witch hunter, and they find him in prison fighting against wolves for entertainment. They get to Matthias' cell and concoct a plan to break him out by switching places with a volunteer from the Crows. Nina changes the volunteer's appearance to make it look like he caught some sort of lupine pox from the wolves, so the guards won't recognize that the real Matthias is gone for at least a month. Matthias wakes up and tries to kill Nina, and they knock him out. When Matthias wakes up on the boat, he refuses to join in a heist against his people and says he'll only give them information if he gets to kill Nina. Kaz instead offers to have him pardoned and reinstated as a Fjerdan witch hunter, so Matthias agrees but says that he'll hunt Nina down as a witch hunter when he's reinstated. It's then alluded to that Nina and him were once romantically involved in some way, and she's the reason he was in jail. They introduce the rest of the crew: Nina, the heartrender, Inej, the spy and thief, Jesper, the sharpshooter, and finally Wylan, a demolition expert who just so happens to be a Van Eck and can ensure they get their money. Right before they leave for the heist, the ship they were supposed to leave on blows up, and Kaz reveals that the ship was just a decoy because he suspected they'd be targeted. Men attack them and Inej gets stabbed, but Kaz grabs her as she passes out. They capture Uman, Giles's right-hand man, and torture him until he reveals that the famous crime boss, Pekka Rollins, hired the Black Tips and the Razor Gulls for this job. Pekka is Kaz's #1 enemy, but we don't know why yet. Nina tends to Inej's wounds, and we learn her and Matthias's backstory. Years ago, Nina went on a mission with Zoya, and this is an Easter egg to a Grisha from the Shadow and Bone series. And Nina walked off and stumbled into a Druskella or witch hunter camp and was taken on their ship as prisoner, heading to the ice court for trial. While she was being kept prisoner, she formed somewhat of a bond with Matthias, and it's alluded to that he saved her when the ship was capsized at sea. Matthias tells Nina that he trusted and loved her, but she betrayed him when she accused him of being a slaver, which led to him being sent to the Hellgate prison, but Nina says that this was all a mistake. After Matthias and Wylan map out the prison, Kaz concocts the heist plan, which involves Inej climbing 6 floors up the shaft of an incinerator. After Inej wakes up, she talks with Jesper and asks why he's doing this job. He says he's in debt because of his gambling, and that's why he joined the Dregs in the first place. Later, Kaz reveals to Inej that Pekka Rollins killed his brother, and that's why he has a personal vendetta against him. They make their way through the cold to get to the prison, and they find 3 burned Grisha on a pyre, and 1 is still alive. Tensions rise when Nina says that this is what Fërdin's do to Grisha, and Matthias says that this is illegal, and Jesper shoots the surviving Grisha so she stops suffering. They're then attacked by a flying Grisha who's taken Jur to Parem, and he begs for more of the drug when the crows take him down, and he reveals that he's with the shoe. Matthias and Nina stay back to bury the Grisha, and Nina reveals that she only lied and turned him in for slaving to save his life because other Grisha recognized him at port and planned to capture him for execution in Ravka, and it was the only thing she could think of to save him. She didn't know they would take him to Hellgate, and she tried to rescind her statement, but they didn't believe her and refused to see her anymore. Matthias says she'll continue to choose her fellow Grisha over anyone else, and when he asks if she would betray the others and kill Bo Yul Beyor to save humanity, she says that she would. The crows intercept a prisoner transport vehicle for a routine check, and Kaz breaks the rest of the crew into the back of the truck to switch places with the prisoners. Kaz seemingly gets claustrophobic and faints, then has a flashback of him and his brother when they were younger getting conned out of all of their money by Jacob Hertzun, who was really just an alias of Pekka Rollins. Without money, they were kicked out of their lodging, and then his brother contracted pox and died. Kaz was accidentally locked on the sick boat that transported the dead bodies, and he had to use his brother's body as a float to get back to shore, which is why he gets PTSD in tight spaces. When they enter the prison, there is a discrepancy between the prisoners and their documents, but the guards let them pass because they don't want to deal with it. They see Pekka Rollins' men hung on spikes at the gate, meaning they tried and failed to pull off the heist. They pass through a Grisha checkpoint where Grisha guards touch every prisoner to make sure no other Grisha sneak in. Nina had put some sort of power nullifying powder on her arm before entering, and she passes by them without any problem. While they're in their separate cells, Jesper and Nina take a pellet out from under their skin and mix it with urine to create a chloro gas that will give all of the prisoners headaches. Jesper then reveals that he's a fabricator and uses his power to pull iron ore out of the bars to open the lock, and the rest of the crew agrees to keep his secret when they're back in Ketterdam, because Ketterdam is not as open about Grisha as Ravka is. They make it to the incinerator room and find that it was ran in the afternoon instead of the morning, so it's incredibly hot. There is also a chemical in the air, so they can't risk bringing in explosives. Inej goes up the shaft anyway, and it's so hot that her shoes are melting. Nina and Kaz get separated, and Kaz goes to find Pekka Rollins in his cell. Nina is waiting for Kaz when guards arrive, so she attacks them, but one of them sounds the alarm. The whole crew meets back up to reevaluate their new plan now that the alarms have been tripped. Nina and Inej pose as prostitutes with the menagerie to get access to the island during their event, and the rest of the crew will stay back and trip the black alarm that disables the bridge back from the island, so no one will be able to leave the island as they break Bo Yul Beyor out. While Inej and Nina are with the menagerie, Inej is singled out and put with other suspicious menagerie workers to get their papers rechecked. While she's waiting, her previous boss and owner of the menagerie spots her and tells the guards she's the wraith who works for Kaz Brecker. Then the alarm goes off and the island is put on lockdown. Meanwhile, Jesper and Wylan are disabling the bridge. Kaz and Matthias are killing and knocking out guards, and Nina is looking for a guard to get information out of. Nina comes face to face with the notorious Druskella Jarl Broom, who she previously thought drowned in the shipwreck. She's not sure if he recognizes her, so she chats him up and pretends to be a menagerie worker to get him alone. He shows her a makeshift laboratory with rows of cells full of Grisha that they're testing Jirdaparem on. Then he throws her in the cell and says he recognized her all along and plans to drug her with Jirdaparem. Matthias appears and says that he was never going to betray his country and he's getting his revenge on Nina. Then the Black Protocol bells ring. In Matthias's point of view, we learn that he saw Jarl Broom following Nina after recognizing her, and he quickly came up with a plan to help her by getting the Jarl alone. Matthias knocks Jarl Broom out and frees Nina, and we see that he no longer believes that all Grisha are monsters, and he condemns what the Fjordans are doing to the Grisha in these cells. He always believed that Grisha were put to death after losing a trial, but they've been kept here and experimented on all along so that the Fjordans can use them for their army. After Jesper and Wylan disable the bridge, they expect guards to arrive, but they realize the guards are now preoccupied with these new Shu Tidemaker Grishas that have just arrived and are attacking the guards by draining their blood. The Grisha start draining their blood, but Jesper uses his powers to send all of the metal pieces from his clothing into the attacking Tidemakers to injure them. Nina and Matthias make it to the vault and find a young boy who says that Bull Yul Bayor is dead and was killed during a conflict between the Kirch and the Fjordans. This boy says that he's his son, Kuwei Yulbo, so the Fjordans have kept him there as prisoner in attempts to try and recreate the Jirdaparem, but he's been stalling. Nina and Matthias decide not to kill him, and the boy says that he's an Inferni Grisha and his father accidentally made Jirdaparem while he was trying to find a way to hide his powers. They decide to destroy as much of the lab and the research as they can. Kaz nearly drowns while escaping, and Matthias and Nina revive him. Then the rest of the crew shows up with a tank to escape on. When they reach the bridge, the Fjordans are shooting at them as hundreds of guards block their path to the harbor. They have a Grisha who's been dosed with Jirdaparem ready to kill them, so Nina tells Kuwei to give her the Jirdaparem and she takes it. With Nina's elevated power, they're able to defeat the guards and escape. On their way home, Matthias cares for Nina while she goes through withdrawals, and usually with Jirdaparem, the withdrawals kill the Grisha. The crew meets with Van Eck while Wylan stays back with Nina. They hand over the boy to get their money, but Van Eck says they're not leaving the island and Grisha emerge to kill them. Van Eck reveals that the council never knew about this deal and he's going to use Jirdaparem to create an unstoppable army. Kaz tells Van Eck that his son Wylan is on the ship, and Van Eck reveals that he sent Wylan away months ago because he can't read or write and disowned him as his heir, and Kaz realizes that the letters Wylan has been getting from his dad have just been to mock him. Kaz then reveals that the boy he handed over was not Kuwei Yulbo, but actually Wylan tailored to look like him. Before they attended the meeting, Wylan guessed that his father wouldn't care if the crows threatened to kill him, and came up with another plan instead. Van Eck tells the Grisha to kill everyone except for Kaz, and a fight breaks out, and Inej is knocked out and kidnapped, and Van Eck tells Kaz he has 1 week to bring him the real Kuwei. Jesper is upset that he wasn't told about the plan to disguise Wylan, and Kaz says that he can't be trusted because he knows Jesper accidentally sold them out to Pekka Rollins. Before they left, Jesper had told the gambling bosses that he owed money to, that he was going out of town and coming back with a lot of money. So when this got back to Pekka, he pieced together that they were attempting the heist, and then he went and attempted the heist first. Clearly we know that he didn't succeed. It's then revealed that while in the ice court, Kaz released Pekka from his cell and ominously told him that he wasn't meant to die there. Then the book ends with the crows approaching Pekka Rollins and asking him for $200,000 and the ability to get a letter to the Ravkan government. As always, please leave a comment if there are any other books you would like me to summarize, and thank you for watching.